Welcome, everybody, to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We're going to jump right into the show here. If you have a comment, excuse me, I can clear the throat before we get going here.
If you have
We'd love to
phlegm
hear.
too.
Yeah, we'd love to hear, what you're drinking or thoughts on what we're talking about here. So just drop a comment. But with that said, I am going to get a drink of water and then we're going to get going here.
That's a good idea.
Thank you for sparing us of your mouth noises.
Yeah, that's right. I do appreciate that. No, what is it?
Yeah,
ASMR? No BGR ASMR today.
No BGR ASMR. No, had to get that. That came up on me all of a sudden there. So, all right, guys, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thank you for joining us this week for some craft beer and conversations. I'm Tim Dennis. Brian Hewitt, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a long day. How you doing?
Long day. I'm fine. Yeah. We've had, I think last week we complained about the high temperatures in that, and we're having what we call false fall here in Georgia. We get a little snap of cooler temperatures. I think I saw 67 was the lowest one morning when I got up. And we did get up, what did we get? I think we got to like 83 today, but I mean, we're still talking 15 or more degrees lower than it was last week. So the temperatures have been pleasant, and I appreciate that, Brian.
I do too. How far up did it get? I know I don't watch it closely because I'm shut in working indoors most of the time, but I know we hit 90s, but did we hit close to 100?
So I don't know if we officially did or not. My Amazon Echo show on my desktop at one time did show 100 degrees. So
no kidding.
I know we had some feels likes that were 106, 107, maybe a little bit higher there. So I don't think I ever officially saw it somewhere. And sometimes like my Apple Watch and my Echo disagree by a couple of degrees there. So I don't know. We got darn close.
That is too dang hot, Tim.
It's too hot.
It's
too hot there. Nate, how are you doing?
Doing well. I am definitely enjoying the cooler weather so far for this week. I was downtown Atlanta today, and I did see it hit 90. So I'll take 90 over a real temperature of like 96, 97 every day of the week.
90 in Atlanta today, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, getting up
I
there,
will
man.
say that my device currently on my desk, and I kind of hate this thing, but it does say 87 at the moment, so we might be a little warmer. And we've got all the pavement around us. You've got a little bit more greenery and a little less pavement, so I assume that we're just going to run a little hotter. And we're a little further south than you are, so we're going to be a little warmer for that reason.
My iPhone says it is 81, and my Echo now says it's 84. So there's a little discrepancy there.
How on earth? Like, we can't even agree on temperature these days.
Anyway, yeah. I guess where they're reading from. So I guess we got a little bit, depending on exactly where you are in Woodstock, your temperature may vary by a few degrees. Crazy.
Maybe it's just your particular room that's 84.
I don't know, man. I don't think they have a meter in here anywhere. If they do, they did not ask my permission when they installed it. So, yeah. But all right, guys, let's go right on here with our beers of the week. Brian, what are you getting into?
I started off with a pregame of Old Nation's B43, not M43, because B stands for Brute IPA. Or Brute, probably, not the IPA part. But yes, I had a Brute IPA, and I love that Old Nation is still making Brute IPAs, even though everybody else has declared the style dead. And I was thinking about it as I drank it. I'm like, I think they're going for a champagne-y type of thing here, which makes a lot of sense because I'm like, I kind of get that. I do kind of get it.
Well, that's a Brute IPA. So
yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, so like if you look at the check-in, it's like if you're looking for lower carb, fuller flavor, this is it. Crisp, clear, dry, and it is really dry, and it does have kind of a winey character to it, to my taste. So I'm like, yeah, this is like a champagne. I love that they're still making this. This was released as a woodshed series, like an experimental thing, and they promoted it right up to a regular release, and it's still out there. And they're not scared. They're gonna keep selling brewed IPAs as long as they feel like it. They don't care what people say about it. So happy to
Good
see
for
that
them.
that's still out there. And yeah, it's a good beer. Go out and have one. I think it's solid. Now I am working on an Equilibrium Great Nation collaboration. There's a lot of sounds there that are difficult to put together. Called
Great
The Juice
Notion.
Awakens. Great Notion, yes. Great Notion, Great Old Nation. I'm getting all confused, but Equilibrium,
You okay?
Great Notion.
It's early, man. You're fighting already.
Yeah, let me tell you, it's been a long day. The Juice Awakens. It's a New England double IPA with all the hops, basically Citra Incognita, Citra Lupomax, also some additional Citra on top of those various forms of Citra, Strata, Eclipse, and Crush hops. So that's drinking very nicely, and I do enjoy the Star Wars reference. And afterwards, I was so jealous of Nate's beer last week that I went out and found some. I've got some Parish Actius Luna. I think I'm saying that right. That's the one that's inspired by the big green moth. And that's a triple New England IPA with Strata hops. And I'm looking forward to that. So I'm basically going single, double, and triple with the IPAs today. That is my plan, Tim.
All right. Stacking it. You have a method to the madness this week.
I do.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Nate, how about you, sir?
All right, so starting off fresh in my glass, I've got from Modelo their Negra, which I didn't realize was actually listed on Untapped as a Munich Dunkel lager. Um, I really enjoy it. This is a leftover from a camping trip that I went on with some buddies earlier this year. But the real exciting beer that I have on deck is from Old Nation, and I've got their Blueberry Creamsicle M43, which is a New England IPA with blueberries. And we've featured the Creamsicle M43 on the show before. And one thing that got Brian excited about it was it has no lactose in it.
All
And so
right.
this
I
one is a
remember that
blueberry
now.
creamsicle M43 with no lactose in it. So I'm real excited to try that next.
Okay. Get the cream without the lactose, Brian.
Yeah.
They're making that just for you.
The way it seems to work is Mo Mike Nate finds it, and then next week I'll find it, and then I will buy it and drink it and see how it is. But yeah, I love that somebody's doing this. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but for my taste, it's close enough. But
That's good.
how about you, Tim? What are you drinking?
Brian, it's water for me again this week,
Okay.
man. That's I would love to get back on it. I feel very non-beer guy with having to consume so much H2O, but them's the facts right now. It's just the way it's got to be, man. Just the way it's got to be.
How are you even dealing with all that hydration you have flowing through your body? That's just
so
weird.
it's funny you say that. With the temperatures dropping, my body is not telling me enough to drink, so I'll forget about it all. And I have to do better about reminding myself to hydrate and get my required water in the day. So yeah, I'm not staying that hydrated. Brian.
You're just not drinking enough of anything right now.
I'm just not drinking. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I guess I should, maybe set me a timer. Like my watch reminds me when I'm working every hour to get up. Hey, time to stand up. Don't sit at the desk all day. So I guess maybe I need a water reminder too. That's the thing is so I've got this. I don't know how much it is, maybe 20 ounces or probably a little more than that. I don't know. But when I do think about water, I'll just chug some of that because I'm like, I know I'm going to forget it again. So let me go ahead and get a good amount of water into the body here.
I do have a system for immediately knowing how far along I am. I've got metal flasks because I don't want to use plastic bottles and all that stuff. And I've got them numbered. If I make it to the fourth one by the end of the day, I'm doing okay. If I'm still on number 2 or number 3 by the end of the day, I'm dehydrated and need to step it up a bit. So
yeah,
I can tell at any point in the day how I'm doing. I think I'm doing okay today. I think I've made it to number 4 already. And now I'm drinking beer. So I probably need to.
Wouldn't it be
have more.
easier to just have like one large thing than a bunch of flasks? And I'm assuming the numbers are written on blue painter's tape and then stuck on your flasks.
Of course they are.
Of course
they are.
Yeah,
Yes, that's how I work. Yes.
Right.
Yes, but at this point I can swap them out, and there's always a cold one in the fridge. So I just refill them and pull a new one out. And by the time I'm done with it, it's usually warm. I'm like, man, that's warm. I need a cold one. Go grab a cold one. And so it works out. So I just do a little rotation thing. It does. Yeah, it does okay. Yeah.
So Dave Adams just reminded us here, as we're recording the show, we record the show middle of the week and then launch the podcast over the weekend. But Thursday, that will be tomorrow as we record, and last Thursday when the podcast comes out, is National IPA Day.
Oh,
So have to do some celebrating there for National IPA Day.
you know I will.
I know, yeah. I think I remember seeing that on the socials there. There's actually quite a few beer days scattered throughout the year. So it's kind of nice. I know there's just a National Beer Day, National Craft Beer Day. Got your IPA days. Is there's a stout day? There's got to be a stout day.
Oh, there definitely is. I know that I've got the Untapped badge, but I think was it last weekend I think it's International Beer Day. That was the day that Miller Lite celebrated their 50th anniversary, and a bunch of people sent me things about them giving away beers for free on that day.
Okay.
The problem is they could not tell you. It's not legal in some states for them to tell you where you can go get a free beer. So Georgia, we were out of luck, but there were other states that were participating, and it was kind of hard to say. I don't know how widespread that was, but they have golden cans, and I checked into a golden can roughly on the day, and it was neat. It was a day. We had beer. It was fun.
Fun times. So we are into the first week, going into the second week of August now. And each week I get from a few distributors, but one of our big distributors here, I get an email of the beers that are going to be dropping the next week. And this week's email was all Oktoberfest, pumpkin, all of that. So, and we even saw them, I think we mentioned on here before, but Nate even saw one like July 2nd or 3rd, like before the 4th of July. I think it was Highlands Oktoberfest was hitting shops already. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on that. We gripe about it every year about the seasonal creep, especially with Oktoberfest as it starts in July. And that's just kind of the first sign that they're just mad rushing to the end of the year. So I've already seen a few things talk about setting up Christmas parties and things like that. So, there's Halloween and Thanksgiving don't even exist. You go and people think just because their kids go back to school that's the end of summer, and that's not the way it works, people. Summer's not over because your children have returned to getting educated. That's just not the way it works out.
Your kids do not control. They do not gatekeep summer or fall for the rest of us.
They don't.
Did I tell you about the scandal that I saw on the shelves recently? There is a whole section in a Total Wine. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it because I don't think they care. But a whole section of like Oktoberfest that are out, and in fact, there are some Christmas beers that are out too. And I was looking at it, I'm like, wow, there's that many out already. And I looked and saw like Dry County Oktoberfest. I'm like, hold on. Dry County's been out of business. And this is all in the news section. I'm like, they've been out of business. They closed, I think last year, probably around October, maybe earlier in the year. I don't know.
It was
for sure.
New Year.
Was it New Year?
The turn of a year, yeah.
Oh, so like even earlier, you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So I thought so. There was no formal announcement on it. It just kind of quietly went away. That's on the shelves now as a new beer. And I'm like, now I realize, and I've heard about this in the past, where old stock, and I don't know who is responsible, but I'm going to say it's the distributors, but I don't have proof of this, will put old stock in right now here early in the season for people to buy up in their mad dash to get Oktoberfest beers. So if your Oktoberfest beer tastes bad right now, shame on you for buying it, but also because you're drinking last year's Oktoberfest beer. That's the problem.
That's why we need that's why we need dates on packages there.
Yes, that's exactly what we're getting
on that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think especially if you get the German ones early, that's going to be last year's stock.
Oh yeah,
for sure. And that's Zach West chimed in and said the same with his, that he said his has a lot from last year, trying to do the same thing on that. But talking about that, Brian, I wish I could remember the name of the author because I would like to call them out properly, but I'll just have to do it generically. But in one of our local Atlanta news stations, like their web presence thing, they wrote an article about the best breweries to get a beer at the end of summer or something along those lines. And seriously, 3 or 4 of the ones that they put in their article were closed. Like just were totally shut down. And I looked all around the web page because sometimes they'll have like the author's name and then they'll have like their LinkedIn and their Twitter and all that. They didn't. There was no. I couldn't figure out, and I think I googled the person and found someone I thought that for like 2 minutes there, I was determined to tell them about their mess up there, and then I gave up. But it's bad. That's a sure sign someone that doesn't know beer is writing about beer. They're
for
like,
sure.
hey, do this piece here. So yeah, they're not just one, but like 3 or 4 of the breweries were just closed down.
Any article that talks about how hot craft beer is or how much it's on the rise, and I still see articles starting off that way, I'm like, clearly this person doesn't know the industry. Like right now,
Right.
we love craft beer. It's great. It's rough right now. It's a little
It's
rough.
rough.
It's not.
It is.
It's not as hot as it once was. That's somebody who's heard a cliche from 10 years ago, and they're just parroting it because they just assume it's true. It's not. Yeah, it's totally not. They don't know the industry at all. I don't believe anything they say. Like
an article saying, "Are IPAs a trendy beer style? This little known style is coming up out there."
Yeah.
They've been writing articles about that, about lager, for like 3 years on that, but in all fairness, I can't say anything because I think I've been for like 10 years now. I mean, the early days of the podcast, I was saying, these lighter drinking beers, these lagers and pilsners and that's going to be the next big thing. And I think they were part of the shadow organization for a while, so to speak. Like the real nerdy nerds were drinking them, and they're more popular. I just saw that here in Atlanta, Halfway Crooks, which is one of our premier lager breweries here, is celebrating 6 years, and the time just flies by. 6 years already. But yeah, man. Anyhow, speaking of that new and trendy beer style IPA, Nate has got another style profile for us this week, and he's going to tell us all about Juicy or Hazy India Pale Ale.
Yeah, so it's I was reading my local news and I saw that there was this hot new beer category on the market, and I just had to share with you guys. So, your Juicy Hazy IPA, it's something that is arguably probably one of the most popular variations of IPA in the market. And so, from your color standpoint, you're going to get a straw to a light amber. The clarity, it's kind of a variety, but typically it's going to be uh, a, a low haze to a very high degree of cloudiness. There's a lot of compounds that go into attributing to that hazy appearance. Starch, yeast, hop material, protein, or none unnamed compounds can contribute to that. As far as your perceived malt aroma and flavor, it's going to be low to medium malt. And then your hop aroma and flavor is actually going to be high to very high. And there's a wide range of attributes, especially fruity, tropical, juicy, and additional flavors. And then as far as your bitterness go, it's still going to be low to medium. It's an IPA, so that hop presence is there, but in general, it's going to be a low to medium bitterness on the body. It's going to be medium to low, medium to high. Generally, when you're drinking a hazy IPA, you're going to get that silky or full mouthfeel. And then when I was looking up some notable um, um, commercial examples, some of the ones that I saw was from Other Half, their Green Diamonds, Double IPA from Treehouse, Julius, Trillium, their Congress Street, and WeldWorks, their Juicy Bits.
You talk about the haze in these Northeast IPAs, Nate. These juicies or hazies, and we talked to John Kimmick from The Alchemist many, many years ago, and he made the comment about when Heady Topper came out, people just lost their minds about the haze in Heady Topper. And if you look at it compared to our hazy beers these days, it really wasn't that hazy. There's just a little bit to it now, and I think it's actually like M43. They tell you to lay the beer can on its side and roll it back and forth.
Yep.
To get all that stuff through there now. And some of them these days, they're just pure haze. And I'll say something too. We've talked about this before. I've seen breweries put out IPAs and say it was a hazy IPA. There's a difference in a murky, muddy, poorly brewed IPA and a hazy IPA, and you can definitely tell the difference looking at it. This isn't hazy. This is just poorly brewed, didn't clarify properly, because even a hazy beer, the undesirables are going to fall out of that. You're going to have the proper haze there.
Yeah, there's definitely like an unattenuated, like it's
Yeah.
like this beer
Yeah.
is not finished, and also it's just full of junk, and it like this isn't right. My favorite in terms of like the body, the characteristics, and this is a thing, and I don't see it in a lot of stuff, but there's a pillowy
Mhm.
mouthfeel to some of these, and that's beautiful. Like, and I don't know how they achieve that. It's very distinctive and it's very different from all of the other stuff. Like what I am drinking right now, not pillowy. It's hazy. It's good. It's not pillowy. It doesn't have that unusual. I have no idea what causes that. That's got to be a yeast thing or something or proteins. Maybe
Combination.
it
Malt,
could even
the
be
malt they're using, everything.
like wheats or something that's happening in there. Whatever it is, it's marvelous when it happens. You're like, oh my god, that's great.
I remember when the hype haze was really coming up that there was even talk of people like dumping flour into their batches of that trying to get
Yes.
haze. Just all the stuff
Sawdust.
just all the stuff they would try to do to get some haze in it. I'll tell you a funny story. When Brian and I were home brewing, we were brewing a Hefeweizen, and I have a cousin who is lactose intolerant, and we had used, I'm forgetting the name of what we actually use now, the name of the product, but it's a popular fining agent that's used to clarify beer, and it drops enough. Like, I think if you're celiac, it didn't remove enough of the gluten for you to drink it, but it removed enough that like the beers like Omission, for the, I don't know if Omission's still around. I haven't heard them mentioned in forever, but they were popular.
Yeah.
What they called them gluten free, but they really just used this fining agent to drop it out, and it made it. So anyhow, to get back to the story there, we used that on our Hefeweizen, and it came out clear as glass. You could read a book through
Oh.
the beer. So
Was it like
we're like,
Clarity
well,
Firm?
that may have been it. Clarity Firm may have been it. So, but that's it. With Hefeweizen, you're supposed to have some of that haze in the beer, but ours
Yes.
didn't. So all we did is change it and call it a Crystal Weizen instead. So we're like, all right,
It was
we'll
a
have to roll with
really,
the punches, and it was
really
good.
good beer. Like
It
it
was
was
really good.
really
Yeah.
good. Dang, that was a good beer. Yeah, like a
Accidental Crystal
yeah,
Weizen.
Crystal Weizen. Yeah, I'm like, who knew? Like that disappeared. I think that we drank that faster than any other beer we ever brewed. I think that was gone. I know
I
you
had
drank
people. Oh, I drank plenty of it. I had
by the
people that
Stein.
would stop by the house. Like, I actually think our buddy Joe showed up one time with a beer glass in his hand, and not like knocked on the door. He's like, "Hey man, you got any more of that?" So like kids trick or treating. But yeah, it was fun. It was a good beer, and that is definitely one of the batches we went through the quickest. It was just an easy drinker. It was just a nice, easy drinking
Yeah.
beer.
He went full Chappelle. Like, y'all get any of that
I
Crystal
got any
Weizen?
more of that Crystal Weizen? Yeah. And the thing is that's a style we almost didn't brew it, because when we brewed a style we hadn't brewed before, we would typically go out and buy as many of the top rated ones as we could find. And then we would kind of formulate our recipe based on our likes and dislikes of all the ones we drank. So we drank through all these commercially available ones, and we're sitting there, we're like, you know what? They're just not impressive. There just wasn't,
Yeah.
not that they weren't good beers. I'm just like, do we want to take up time brewing this? Because this is just kind of mid, I think is what they say, the
What the
style,
kids
not,
say.
not,
Mid.
not necessarily the beers, but just the style. So, but we're like, well, we're this far into it. So let's go for it. And it ended up working out. We ended up with a really tasty beer.
That triggered my fascination with the open fermentation. I think people were doing that to really drive home some of those
Yeah.
interesting estery qualities to
Mhm.
Hefeweizens. And I haven't really thought about that in years, but man, that was great. And honestly, I would drink the heck out of that beer again now if I had it.
What
Yes,
was
sir.
Sierra Nevadas? Was it just called Kellerweiss? I think.
I think so. Kellerweiss
And
and
I know going to their location near Asheville that they had an open fermentation vessel there for that. So they didn't do it with all beers, but for that one, I think it was called Kellerweiss. Is
It
what
is.
they're
Yeah, you're right.
Is
I
it
think
still
that sounds
around?
right.
Do they still do that one?
Oh, let's see.
Oh,
I am
we'll see
seeing
what we can
people still
find out.
checking it in as recent as a day ago.
Okay, that was a tasty
Yeah.
beer, or is, I guess.
Yeah, I was trying to find it. Like, I think there was another one out of Oregon that had the reputation for being one of the best. I'm trying to think of Widmer Hefeweizen. I think I've been looking for that to show up because
That's OG stuff there, man.
I believe is it Widmer is owned by what's the Tilray, who own Sweetwater. So I was hoping to maybe see that show up on a tap handle at Sweetwater. It hasn't happened yet, but I think at Widmer Hef. That was one of the ones that I kind of cut my teeth on, and I went through a phase where I really, really liked Hefs like a long, long time ago, and that was kind of my beer. So yeah.
So we got an interesting comment here from Tyler Smur, and he said hazy beers have run their time. So Nate, Brian, as fans of the IPA style, what do you think? Have they jumped the shark? Are we on the tail end of the days of the haze?
I would say that I think there's still a lot of people that like them, and I've always thought that haze, for the point of haze that doesn't contribute flavor to the beer, is really just a beer brewing flaw. But haze that does, like those pillowy ones, where it is an essential part, I believe, of the final flavor outcome. I think it's worth it. I played out. I don't think so. I think that people will continue to sell them really well. I think people need other options. I think people have fatigue with them, and they're no longer as big a draw as they used to be. I still like them as much as I like everything else. Every now and then, getting a hazy, juicy, tropical IPA I'm like, it's what's called for. I really like them a lot. So don't think they're played out. I don't think they've run their time yet.
But I am seeing more of the West Coast being released again. So, for a while there, you didn't see them at all because everything was, hazy, juicy, Northeast style IPA. But I have seen more and more people, like, you know what? I want to go back to some bitter grapefruit and pine. Let's go back to the roots here.
That's good too. It scratches a different. It does scratch a similar itch, but it's not quite the same itch. I like both of those, but yeah, I'm very much in favor of the New England style IPA. I like that when it's done well. When it's just a West Coast IPA that somebody threw sawdust and bark chips and whatnot into it, I'm not into that. That's just annoying. That just bothers me.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nate?
So I don't.
You were nodding. You were nodding when I said it. Like, yep.
Well, here's the thing. So I don't think it's 100% run its course, but I did notice a trend even 5 years ago when I was a beer buyer for a store. I started having more and more requests moving away from haze and going towards the West Coast IPA, and so I think there are larger groups of beer drinkers who are over the haze craze, but I, like Brian, still appreciate a good New England style IPA with that pillowy, soft mouthfeel. And so I still enjoy them. I don't shy away from them, but I definitely see more and more people moving away from them.
It's interesting, man. It's like Brian's Brewed IPA. I think that's one of the shortest lived fads that I remember in craft beer, man.
So good.
That was like 3 months, and it's like, no, we're not doing this. The
Well,
cold IPA, is the cold IPA still around?
Oh, the cold IPA. Is it? I don't
Probably
know.
is, but it
Not
definitely
like
had
it
more.
was. That's another one.
Definitely had a longer run than Brewed IPA did, but I
It
remember I
did,
was
but I think
brewery
it's
hopping.
done too. I think it's over because I haven't seen anybody talking about that in a minute.
When I got my first sip of Brewed IPA, I actually went brewery hopping looking for it. Like, it was so good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here we got some West Coast insight here. It says out here in San Diego, and this from Dave Adams, out here in San Diego, hazies are still a really big deal. Most places make great ones with a good mouthfeel. One place makes the murky one, which I think is a little cloudier. So yeah, and now my experience from San Diego is 3 years ago. But 3 or 4 years ago, I went out there. But yeah, of course, everybody had hazy IPAs, and I saw a few different places doing what they were calling a San Diego style IPA. And Dave, if you hear this and you can define this for me, let me know. But the best I could guess from sampling them a few different places, it was kind of a hybrid style. Like it had the tropical, the haze, and all of that, but also brought a little more of the bitterness back into the party. And that, so, or maybe it was just something they threw on there so people could say, oh, I'm in San Diego having a San Diego style IPA.
It could be.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, Brian, I tell you what, before we get into some of our stories, how about we give a shout out to Truck and Tap?
Yeah, that seems like a good idea. So, one of the best things about dropping by your local Truck and Tap is that no two visits are ever the same. The tap list is always, refreshed with new beers, and the food trucks change daily. Heck, even the cocktail specials have probably changed since the last time you visit. They don't necessarily change daily, but they change a lot. And that's why my beer picks are so different and so varied each week. And speaking of beer picks, here are my beer picks. That Truck and Tap Woodstock, I'm going with a big one. Edmund's Oast Forgotten Orchard. It's a Calvados barrel-aged barley wine, ringing in at 13% ABV. Hey, we've been talking about it. It's been cooler outside, so this is fine. This is fine. You'll be good with this. Anyway, you can expect notes of roasted apple brandy, vanilla, and caramel from this big boy, and it sounds really good. Edmund's Oast makes good stuff. At the Duluth location, I'm getting Blue Jackets Prize Fighter. It's a classic English bitter that's brewed for balance and easy enjoyment. I like things that are easy to enjoy, so I think I would like this. It features a malty blackbone and notes of toasted bread and caramel, complemented by a subtle, hoppy, earthy character. It sounds wonderful. I do like a good ESB, and I try to drink them whenever I see them on because they are still such an underloved brand, style these days. At Truck and Tap Alpharetta, my pick is Creature Comforts Everybody Weather. This cheerfully named beer is an American wheat ale made with wheat grown in Georgia. Hey, you know what? That's near me. It's said to be bright with a touch of tropical and stone fruit hops, and that sounds really pleasant. I have liked a few of the interesting little wheat beers that Creature Comforts has done recently, so I think this will be fun. And finally, at the Lawrenceville location, I'm going with Three Taverns Slay the Psychonauts. It's an almond joy pastry stout that sounds more dangerous than it actually is. It's only 8%, and it features chocolate, almond, coconut, and of course lactose, because we are talking about Three Taverns here. And Three Taverns does love their lactose, but their beers are usually worth the lactose if that's a thing for you. And if you enjoy lactose and have no problems with it, then definitely drink this one. But for me, I'll take a pill and enjoy it. And there you have my beer picks for the week. As always, if you'd like to see a full tap list before stopping by, take a look at trackandtap.com. And yeah, because it's going to be different than the last time you looked. That's kind of their whole thing. And if you'd like to see what the food trucks are serving and what events are happening, trivia, karaoke, live music, etc., you can find that at truckandtap.com as well. Everything you need to know is at truckandtap.com. So check that out. And thank you to Truck and Tap for your support.
Thank you, Truck and Tap. We appreciate you. Well, Brian, as far as our news this week goes, there's been a lot of shakeups at some big beer companies in executive C-level leadership. And one interesting here is that good old Sammy Adams Boston Beer Company. So what's happening there?
Yeah, so Boston Beer Company's founder and chairman, former chairman, Jim Koch will be taking over the roles. I guess he's still the chairman, honestly, but taking over the roles of president and CEO effective August 15th. Koch last served as CEO all the way back in 2001, 24 years ago. The current president and CEO, Michael Spillane, is stepping down after just over a year in the role. But he will remain on the company's board as a quote-unquote non-executive director, whatever that means. He says the decision to move on is for personal reasons and not due to any disagreements with the company. So this is the third change in the company's top executive role since Martin Roper retired on 2018. The announcement was made after Boston Beer posted a down quarter, with depletions falling 5% and shipments declining 0.8% year over year. Those kind of sound like they could be personal reasons to me, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, this isn't a permanent situation. Jim Koch has said that he expects to remain in the role only until an internal successor is found and is ready to go. The process of preparing that successor hasn't happened yet, so he'll be there for a minute. But it's interesting. It's been 24 years, but he's back in the top spot, and I don't know. I with these kind of shakeups, I'm like, I wonder what that will mean. For the company, what will they do differently while he's running it that wasn't being done before? So
we'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out soon then. All right.
We will.
Yeah, that really says something, man. If the you've been out of it for 24 years, you're like, you know what? I'll do this again. I'll do this again. So I do think it's interesting and kind of appreciated that if I'm reading your notes right, they say an internal successor, which
Yes,
means they
internal.
plan to promote from within the company rather than bringing someone from outside. I always appreciate that, man. I mean, no matter what your background is, I like that. I think I'm more of for the people person than for the corporate person. So
I
maybe
think
that's
what
why I'm
that
not a billionaire. I don't run a company like a billionaire would.
I think that might indicate that what they're doing is good. They just need to continue doing more of it, and they just need a new figurehead. If they were
Yeah.
bringing in somebody from the outside, that's probably an indicator that what we're doing is wrong, and we need some fresh new ideas from outside the company to get the ship going in the right direction. So,
Sometimes it happens, man. Yeah.
and that maybe indicates that the previous guy who left for personal reasons really did leave for personal reasons, and maybe it wasn't about that. Though the company is down, so it's hard to know with these things.
Yeah. And with beer, that's kind of par for the course these days.
Yep.
Beer sales are down. Oh, really? Oh, really?
Yeah. You don't say.
Yeah. But Brian, not just Boston Beer Company, not just Sam Adams. This one was bigger and more changes here, but good old Pabst had a C-suite shakeup.
Yeah, the upper management's really shooken up at Pabst this week. They have appointed Greg DeBow as their new CEO effective August 11th, so this is really soon. The current CEO has been in the role since December 2021. These short terms make me think that this doesn't work. You need to leave. The new CEO previously served as an executive vice president of national accounts for Pabst from 2015 to 2019. He left the company. They're bringing him back. So that's an interesting difference here. In addition to the CEO change, Michael Levitt, a partner in Pabst's parent company, will take over as the interim CFO. So the CFO is getting kicked out of the company as well. And they don't even say that he's leaving for personal reasons. They just say exiting the company. Pabst is the fifth largest brewing company, as of 2024, but its beer production declined by 5.6% year over year. The company's off-premise dollar sales and volume are both down over 9% year to date.
Mhm.
And the flagship beer, Pabst Blue Ribbon, which is what we know them for, has seen double-digit decline of just over 10%. So I'm kind of surprised by this news because I'm used to thinking about Pabst as being like the hipster beer of choice. The people that were too cool for school were drinking Pabst. But I guess those hipsters have gotten older and maybe they're spending more time with their families and their kids and less time with their Pabst and their leather smocks and their handlebar mustaches. They just don't have the time for those anymore. I also have to wonder if we'll start seeing more advertising in the future from Pabst. I don't know. I don't think they had to do much of it while the hipsters were really into them, but I could be wrong. But I thought the lack of advertising and it's the working man's beer was part of the appeal. But maybe I'm thinking maybe we'll start seeing more advertising because they realize that's no longer just kind of a gimme for them. So I don't know.
Yeah. PBR tall boys were kind of a standard at dive bars. Like any dive bar you go to, they would always have, and I think a lot of places did them for, it was like $2, I think.
Oh yeah.
Which these days finding a beer for $2, even if it is, a macro like PBR, that's uncommon. So I've had my share of $2 PBRs because I'm like, hey, it's $2, man. It's $2.
Going way back, I've been to bars and like way back. I think it was a Bucka PBR. I want to say that there was a place in Portland where I used to live, and I want to say there was a bar in Nolans that's I think was doing it for like some ridiculous 3 for X number of dollars. It might have been $1 or less a PBR.
Wow,
so you could do that. But we're going back a long ways. But those were, you know what? People love that like there was no shortage of people drinking those up. Those special, those days, there were typically specials or like for time periods or for days. People drank it up. They loved that. So
many years ago when I lived in Arkansas, I wasn't that far from Memphis. And since where I lived, there was really nothing happening. Memphis is where we went to do stuff. And there was kind of the alternative punk alternative rock club there called 616. That was, if anybody's in Memphis and you remember Memphis of the 90s, you probably remember 616. But they had, I think on Sundays, I forget, my memory's a little foggy around this, so I may not get all the details correct, but I think they call it like Disco Inferno or something along those lines. But they would play old school alternative, which, in the 90s, we're talking 70s, 80s stuff, of course, and remix it to like dance style, DJ dance style type stuff.
Yeah.
Or maybe they took disco and remixed it like more modern alternative stuff. Anyhow, something along those lines. But their deal was you paid a cover charge and then beers were a penny for the rest of the night. And
that's great.
the reason they were a penny is they couldn't give you free beer. Like, you couldn't pay a
Yeah.
cover charge and just have it. And I remember, I think they had seriously like a bucket of pennies on the counter where you could seriously just take a penny out of the bucket and give it to them. But they had to do that. They had to, here's your penny. Thank you much. I think they throw it back in the bucket or something along those lines, but, and I remember specifically the beer that I remember the most, I don't know if it was like this every time, was Coors Extra Gold, which I don't even think is around anymore. But
I don't think so.
Back then, it would have been.
I think one of the places that for a short term, for like 1 or 2 sessions, had Pabst Blue Ribbon. I think they went to Ice House for $1. They also had go-go dancers. They had people.
Okay.
They had people that were up on these. It wasn't designed for it, but they had some sort of like half walls with the supports and whatnot, and people would just be up there dancing. It was like Thursday nights. It was go-go dancers, and it was Pabst Blue Ribbon initially. I think it was Ice House after that. I went there a few times, and they had the old school like vinyl bench seating with the booths and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd hang out there and you'd listen to club music, and they'd be dancing, and you'd attempt to talk over the noise. And it was so 90s. It was just everything you've ever seen in a movie from the 90s. I was there. I saw that. It was kind of, man,
good times, man.
What a time, though, right? It's just what a time.
Yeah, it was fun, no doubt. Now, Brian, our next story is this is an interesting one, and I didn't hear about a lot of fallout from this, so I'm guessing it may have been caught before it became an issue. But a very interesting mix-up with some cans of energy drink recently.
Yeah. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has issued a warning after some Celsius Astro Vibe Blue Raz energy drink cans were mistakenly filled with vodka, or more accurately, probably like a vodka cocktail. The mix-up occurred because a packaging supplier accidentally shipped empty Celsius cans to the vodka seltzer company High Noon, and as a result, they had to recall a bunch of variety packs called the Beach Variety Pack, that they had some of these cans in there with alcohol instead of energy drinks. So so far no illnesses or adverse events have happened, so nobody's complained about getting sick, and no issues. Nobody's crashed a car or anything like that. The affected products were shipped to retailers in Florida, New York, Ohio, South Carolina, Virginia, and Wisconsin between July 21st and July 23rd. If you're not one of those places, you're not going to find one of these. Consumers are advised to check the lot codes on the bottom of their cans and dispose of any affected products. How you choose to dispose of said products is entirely up to you. They don't give you guidance on that. There are many ways you could do it. It's worth pointing out that single cans were not affected, only the Beach Variety Pack, so you had to buy the variety pack to get it. So if you've been seeing a lot of Willy Wonka memes about people buying cans of Celsius energy drinks, hoping for a golden ticket, that's what they're talking about. And if they're buying singles, they're not going to find any, so it's not going to work out for them. The Celsius Twitter account has been having a little fun with the situation, posting things like whoever swapped the cans owes us a rideshare home, and friendly reminder, we're high energy, not high ABV. So that's been they've been funny about that. But I haven't seen any mention of any kind of punishments or penalties for the mishap, like Tim was saying. It just makes sense, because I think this is just a legitimate, shipping error. That's the whole reason they wound up filled with alcohol, is the wrong cans got shipped to the wrong place. But that hasn't stopped people on social media from saying that they're swearing off Celsius, because the people are going to do that. They're going to, assume the worst.
Yeah.
And, whatever. I don't think anybody meant anything by this, and it was a complete mistake. So yeah, don't worry.
And I was thinking at first, I was like, how would you not notice you were canning into the wrong cans? But I think a lot of these cans come on huge if you're a big operation. Because I even think at Sweetwater, like it's not like you hand load. We've helped out at breweries, Brian, where
Yeah.
you're manually loading, stacking cans on a canning line. But I think these big breweries, or I know these big breweries, like they'll push a whole pallet onto a palletizer thing
Yeah.
that just pushes them down the line.
It's
And
automated. That gets
everything
fed through.
from everything from filling to sealing to even putting them in the cardboard boxes is automated. So it definitely could have been something that you just wasn't noticed until it was.
Yeah, you watch one of those videos from like, I don't know how it's made or whatever, where they have the
Right.
conveyor belts and all the things that like handle the cans. Like people don't touch these cans. They load them. They're instructed like this pallet needs to get loaded and get filled. They put them on there, and their entire job is to make sure that the system doesn't stop, doesn't break, doesn't explode, and doesn't start spraying alcohol everywhere. They're not looking at the
Right.
design on the can because they're just simple. They're folks just doing their job. They're like, these cans got sent in. We need to fill them with this liquid. That's all they know. Yeah.
Put the
so-
cans on the line, let them get filled. Absolutely. And I was thinking at first, I was like, man, I'm surprised Celsius is joking about a mistake like this. They weren't the ones that did it, though.
No, they
It
didn't.
was just their cans were sent to High Noon, right?
It's like a
Okay.
shipper that did this. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Poor
the
Celsius.
High Noon wasn't responsible for this. This was really a
Yeah.
logistical error. Like it's just somebody sent the wrong pallet to the wrong place. That's really what it boils down to.
I think, though, they just seem like even with something like a mistake like that they always want to penalize. There has to
Yeah.
be some kind of fun. So I think it's cool that they're like, all right, it's messed up. They caught it. They turned things around here. So
Yeah,
You know,
well, because
no harm,
they,
no
they,
foul.
they issued
Hopefully.
a recall and everything. They took
Yeah,
all the
they
steps
did
they
what they had
could
to.
to like say, hey, hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry. There was a screw up. We're aware of it. We're pulling it back. That. So I think everybody acted in good faith here. Just like, mistakes happen, man.
Man, I wonder if anybody did get one of those unknowingly and just they're like, man, gosh, I didn't sleep last night. I got a long day ahead of me. I got meetings and spreadsheets. I'm gonna hit this energy drink real quick. Then their vodka. I wonder if any jobs were lost over this.
That sounds like a sitcom episode where somebody accidentally like drinks a high proof ready to drink cocktail instead of an energy drink, and they go about their
Yeah.
day, and at the end of it, like they get a promotion, they're wound up being the CEO of the company or something like that, or
Yeah, that would be a good one. I'd watch that. Sure enough.
I'm pretty sure that's been made, and I have a feeling like I've actually seen that episode before. I don't know who's done it, but yeah,
Probably something at least with that premise there.
oh
Absolutely.
yeah,
I saw. So you guys know the new King of the Hill is out. The new King of the Hill series has.
Mhm.
Have
yeah.
either of you guys watched any of it?
No, but I've been told that one of
Okay.
the episodes was about I think Hank drinking with his son. So, like I said, I was
So
watching. I
the-
haven't gotten to it yet.
I'm 2 episodes in. In the second episode, he takes up homebrewing. And so
Oh.
the whole episode is kind of focused around, and for our Texas friends here, he's in Dallas, but he enters a homebrew competition. And it's kind of funny. They go to a brewery and they're trying different beers, and you can just imagine Hank Hill in a modern craft brewery in that. But I found it entertaining, with all the beer stuff in there. But he decided now that he's retired that he would take up brewing as his hobby. Who knows if it'll last in the next episode if he's still brewing, but
So Hank did. That's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, I use propane to heat up my boil kettle. So
That's a
that
really
was
good
one of
point.
the appeals to Hank was that
Yeah,
it was
just
he's
saying.
like, this takes two of my favorite things, propane and beer. So yeah, he was all
That's-
about
propane
it.
and propane accessories, but
That's
here we
right,
are.
man. Yeah.
Well, you need the accessories in order to ignite the propane to
1,000%. Yeah.
boil the
course.
kettle. So yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did the beer? I know we saw some people drinking the beer. It looks like it had been released in, looks like maybe just generic cans at first, maybe for the locals or something like that.
Mhm.
But did you see an update, Brian? I know you told us last week it was delayed, but have you seen any news that it made it
I
out?
think it got out. I think it did
Okay,
get out.
all right.
I think it even probably got out I think because they got some blowback and they got some bad press, that the people involved hightailed it into getting that out.
Okay.
And I believe the beer actually did make it out in time to be enjoyed, at least in Texas, when the series reboot started. I don't know when
Okay,
that's
that's
going
cool.
to show up around the country. I haven't seen any follow up posts about that, but
Gotcha.
I'll let you know if I see it or if I hear
All right.
anything.
Keep me
Yeah.
posted, Brian.
I
Well,
will.
Brian, we always talk about beer sales down and things just aren't looking good. But some information this week says at least beer production is up in the EU.
Yeah, it's nice to see some positive beer news and some good beer trends. The European Union, as of 2024, with the most recent stats that they have, EU countries produced a total of 34.7 billion liters of beer. So the study breaks this total down into two categories: beers that are more than 0.5%, half a percent, which is your standard alcohol, and beers that are 0.5% or less, including completely alcohol-free beers, which is your NA stuff. Production of beers above 0.5% of alcohol, which is your typical beer again, is up 0.6% compared to the previous years. That's not amazing, but that's up. Production of beers with less than 0.5% of alcohol is up significantly, which is not going to be surprising to too many people, 11.1% compared to the previous year. And so that's really good to hear. Like hearing that. And the article has some other interesting European Union beer stats, so I figured I'd include those as well. Germany remains the top producer of alcoholic beer, producing 7.2 billion liters, followed by Spain and then Poland. The Netherlands is still the top exporter of alcoholic beer, despite seeing a 12% decrease in exports from the previous year. So Netherlands is losing some ground. Is that Amstel? Is that really lost in sales of Amstel? They didn't say. I have to speculate there, but Germany and Belgium are close behind in terms of exports of beer, but Germany is behind the Netherlands, which I didn't realize. And France is the largest importer of alcoholic beer within the EU. Italy is the second largest importer of alcoholic beer within the EU. And I don't really think about Italy when I think about beer, but they like their beer. So, well, they got the Italian
All right.
Pilsner, so I do think about that. But yeah, so that's
They got
the way things
Peroni.
shake out. Yeah, they've got Peroni.
True.
I like Peroni
Yeah.
a lot too. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't think it gets as much talk, but our friend Owen Ogletree has done beer tours to Italy, and I think there is a thriving yet maybe smaller, craft community there.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm not familiar with a lot of it, but what is the name of it? Not Pivo. Is it Pivo Pills? That's the one out of California, right? Is that Firestone Walkers? Is that Pivo
Yeah,
Pills?
but I think Pivo is
Mhm.
just Pilsner. I think Pivo means Pilsner in Czech, maybe?
I think that beer is inspired by one that was actually made in Italy by a craft brewer.
The Italian.
Yeah, and I can't think of the name of it. I actually found it in South Carolina on a trip one time and drank it. It was nice. It was pretty nice, but I think the Firestone Walker is inspired by that, and then a lot of other people have been inspired by the Firestone Walker one, and so we've gotten some things that are.
Is it Tivoli
I think so.
that does
that
it?
might be it.
So,
Yeah. I
okay,
think
yeah.
that's right.
Pivo Pills, Tipo Pills. TIPO.
Pills.
TIPOPILS. Tipo
That's what
Pills.
it is. Yeah. I was excited to find that finally. So that was fun to get to drink. I really wish it was easier to find around because it's a good beer. And we don't have access to Firestone Walker stuff around here, I don't think, unless they've just come back to the
Nah,
market.
there was chatter about it coming this way,
Yeah.
but we never got it. I tell you what, some of their anniversary beers has been some of my favorites of all time. They do some really good stuff there.
Oh yeah, some of those. Yeah, I really like those. I still have some old ones. I don't really
Yeah.
old ones. Heck, I think I have the one that you said was one of the best beers you ever had from 2016. Still, yeah,
It was good.
have,
It's
have
good
to crack
stuff,
it open
man.
at a bottle share at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, crank it out there. I forget, was it how old are they? It seems like 25 was the one, but are they that old? How long's Firestone Walker been around?
Oh, you know what? I'm not sure.
But anyhow,
25?
it was a good one. It was a
Yeah.
good one. I enjoyed it. Very nice. Very nice. Well, Brian, interesting stuff here. Marketing and merchandising and all that stuff is very critical. And a lot of people put a lot of time into studying it. So people have studied what others look at and what are the characteristics of a winning beer can design.
Yeah, this is a very cool study I found by the Accelerated Marketing Insights by Quad is the name of the study. They used advanced eye tracking technology to explore exactly what drives consumer purchase when they're in the craft beer aisle. And it took place in a Milwaukee area liquor store because the city has a reputation for, like beer love, beer history, beer culture, that sort of thing. So they found that shoppers often make a decision in under 3 seconds when they're buying their beer. Packaging design is only the third most important factor in purchases after flavor and price. The three key design elements, though, that grab shopper attention are, heavily illustrated labels, the use of pressure sensitive labels, which is a type of label that we all see on cans. It adheres to the surface when pressure is applied. It's an industry thing. And mascots. Mascots front and center on the can. So they also determined that eye-catching visuals are critical for visibility, but the clear information is what seals the deal. The study emphasized that labels should clearly communicate key details like the style of the beer and some other things like ABV. If the consumer can't tell what they'll be drinking when they open the can, they are not going to buy. And that definitely rings true for me. I have definitely put some beers back because I didn't know what the heck it was, and I wasn't gonna roll the dice on it. The study also noticed a preference for 12-ounce cans over 16-ounce cans, a little bit of an economics thing there. And local identity or connection to the brand was important in purchase decisions, even if consumers said it wasn't. Like, even if they thought it wasn't, it still figured in statistically. Researchers also noticed an increase in women under 30, that demographic. They're actively and experimentally engaging with craft beer, and it challenges our entire traditional stereotypes of craft beer, which is good for the future of craft beer. And in the study, this is my favorite part of it. The can that had the longest total eye fixation was 903 Brewers, Gus Polinski, and the Kenosha Kickers. Do you guys get that reference? Gus Polinski and the Kenosha Kickers.
Was
No.
that it's a John Candy character, wasn't it?
It is.
Was that
yes.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
I thought the same thing. No, it's actually what's the Christmas Story?
It's from Home Alone.
Yeah, Home Alone. It's from Home Alone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
It's one of his characters. Yeah, it that just proves
Oh,
that
that's
he's
right.
still the
Polka
greatest.
King in the Midwest.
When she's looking to get home to Kevin, she has to hook up with the Polka King and his entourage. And the can, we have a picture of it. Fills me with joy just looking at the can. I would buy that beer based on his face in the can alone, and that is a winning design to me. So, yeah, that just proves what they're saying, I think.
Good stuff, man. Interesting. Yeah, I know I'm impacted by labels, branding, all of that good stuff. It definitely has an impact on me, and especially if I don't know what the heck, if I don't know the beer, if I'm just out because we frequently go out and we're like, what's new? What's here? Check it out. And if it's something I don't recognize, hey, this packaging looks good. And I tell you what, man, if your packaging looks like you made it in MS Paint and then printed it on a dot matrix printer, I'm going to assume you don't put much care into brewing your beer. That's just an assumption. And I could be totally wrong, but
absolutely agree.
Yeah. Well, that about wraps it up for our show this week. Thank you once again for tuning in and hanging out with us. If you dig what we're doing, we would love for you to tell a friend to tune into the show. If you really, really like us, we would definitely appreciate your support on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. We'll get you some cool swag. We'll get you in our Discord server, and we will invite you to the after party. With all that said, we hope that you have a really, really good week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers. Clear.
I'm just looking at that can. I just love that can. I don't even know what the beer is. Honestly, I have no idea what the beer style even is.
You'd buy, see, you're like, I don't even know what that is, but
I don't care. I'd buy it.
I'm in, man.
I love it. Yeah.
I can't quite tell from the
I mean,
picture. If I zoom into the picture, it's too pixelated to see what the style is there. Cinnamon and spice ale. I think that's what
I
it
don't know.
said.
I don't actually. I don't know when this study was actually done. So this may have been like over the holidays.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, y'all, thank you so much. Yeah, we went a little too long. Sorry to our Instagram folks that we didn't get to say goodbye. It cuts us off. They've got a limit on Instagram of an hour. So if we're still on an hour, it chops us. We're done. It gives you your 1 hour. So, but y'all, thanks for hanging with us. We appreciate it. We hope you all have a good week, and we will see you next week. Cheers.